Welcome to my channel, and in today's series about my coloring book collection we will see pictures which have subjects connected to fairy tales or legends or similar stories. And we will start from my one and only finished coloring book. It's Fairy Tales by Selina Fenech. Well, I worked on this book during last probably 3 years, and yes, as I said, for now it's the only one book which I managed to finish. It's said that my last picture which I finished here was completed at the same moment when I realized that I don't want to color anything else from Selina. It was unpleasant discovery that when you don't have positive feelings towards the artist, you also don't want to color any more of her books, and I own practically all of them. But let's concentrate on positive side. Let me show you almost everything I've done here, apart from this terrible title page. I have very bad luck with title pages. Here wasn't an exclusion. Here somehow I decided to test on the title page some of my distress inks. Of course, you can see it even now. Originally some stains. Originally I planned to add around the frame something with stencils, some swirls in pink color, and of course something went wrong with the stencil applying. Well, I don't know, but it looked ugly. So the black paint probably was my only salvation. Yes, I know that it looks terrible, but at least it helped me to save a little bit those small fragments. They are also available on the big pictures, but I still wanted to color them second time. And even if the title page now doesn't match the look of the rest of the pictures, and this black acrylic on thin paper in Selina Fenech books behaved very badly. Still, it was my only possible solution how to save the title page. I didn't color it in order, so in the beginning of the book we have some very old pictures, quite new pictures, but I'm glad that when you look at all of them, you remember many positive moments. I love all pictures here apart from one. Here I think that everything looks really nice. I experimented with various colors of dresses. This book really helped me to color architectural elements like stones, highlights from the highlighted windows. Here I deliberately tried not to complicate coloring on the skin, because on the bad paper I think that it's better to have maybe not enough shadows rather than excessive shadows which turn into dust. And yes, I am quite proud of many pictures here, like the tail of the mermaid or these unusual clouds which I added. That was my last project and the only page which I didn't film. I was so disappointed in Selina's decisions. So that was my last one, Diamonds and Toads. Probably I could work on this a little bit more, because I know that frame I did in big haste. I just wanted to finish it and put on the shelf. Here is the only picture which I don't like. Something went wrong with the Thumbelina, probably color of the green. That's what is bothering me. It doesn't look nice with the color of the water, and also there is not enough deep shadows. Apart from it, it's lovely. If I would want to continue coloring in Selina's books, maybe I would even color this second time, because we have two sets of pictures. Oh my god, look at these clear pictures and these dirty pictures. Very fun. But it's a working coloring book, so it's okay. So this one is probably my least favorite one. But I love my Red Riding Hood. Here I even used many budget pencils to save my more precious when I did those backgrounds, big areas of grass, trees and background. I used Star Joy classical pencils. I used Sucolors And I'm still proud how I did Wolf. It's pencils plus a little bit of acrylic paint. All pictures apart from one are on my channel, so if you want to continue coloring Selena, you can find special playlist on my channel with all these fairy tales. Look at this one. I remember that it was one of the most difficult for me. So there were two difficult areas. How to color this strange stained glass window, which had a huge part of the picture but wasn't depicted very accurately by Selena. And also how to color almost everything in blue. I deliberately did girl and her reindeer in warm colors, and it was a big work on the dress of the Ice Queen, so she also would be in cold blue colors. I added sparkles, so I think that everything worked exactly like I wanted. I'm especially proud of the eyes thrown here. Nice work. I'm still very happy when I look at it, because I remember that I put a lot of efforts into it. On many pictures I combined Prismacolors and polychromoses. It really helped me to work on this paper. But on several pictures I also used budget pencils like Castle Art pastel tints. They are probably too waxy and too, I don't know, smooth for this thin paper, but for some color accents and combining them with other pencils, you can work here. I even managed to work with different color softs, I will show you later. Here there is another one where I experimented. There weren't any background, so I added this wall and those bushes by myself. Maybe again I didn't select the right shade of green, so now the poor frog is slightly messing with the color of bushes. But apart from it, I'm glad that I decided to add backgrounds, and now it looks more completed. Here I used color softs and Derwent drawings. Also, they don't layer very well, but they cover paper nicely. So for backgrounds, they could be used here. On several pictures I even tried to use markers, at least for light underpaint, but I honestly don't like that we have in such way we have stains on the left page, so I used it in a very limited amount. This one I almost copied from the cover, and it was very difficult story to select colors for this background. It doesn't have very precise shapes, but I love muted colors which we have here, so I tried also to find something in pastel tint pencils to match the rest of these colors. This one I tried to make here more complicated shading on her neck and face, then it looked dirty. I tried to erase it, so it was almost total a mess. After this one I decided that no, on this paper I won't be doing any complicated shading, so I simply used lighter and darker skin tones, because all heroes here, they have fair skin tone, apart from Aladdin, which also looked dirty. I wasn't very successful with shading. That's another one where I love the look of it. I think that here I tested Arteza after I purchased it, but also of course I used a lot of Prismacolors, because Prismacolors are the best for snow and light fur. This one I believe also has Arteza pencils. Arteza are not bad on this paper, because they are soft and creamy, and with their bright colors you can cover paper nicely. But of course my favorite media is polychromos. Here polychromos for everything apart from the bushes, grass and bears. With polychromos it's much easier to do various textures on this paper. That's my poor ruined Aladdin face. Yeah, maybe he have to look dirty as a thief, but I wanted slightly different look. Here I even managed to use a little bit of neon colors for all those smoke and clouds. but face, it's that what I don't like here. But it also was one of the pages where I used Arteza, and I discovered that they have quite unique colors here, very nice red airs. Here polychromoses for the girls which are from the foreground, and Prismacolors for the girls which are already went through the magical portal. It was interesting to show that those dresses maybe are made from heavy velvet and those from very light silk or chiffon, something more adaptable for dances. It's also one of the oldest in the book. Well, here I really love cat, and it's also one of the oldest, and I still love this very vibrant background. I think that orange looks really good with shades of olive green, which I used for the leaves and for the trunk here. And also it was quite helpful to learn how to do shadows on the white linen fabric and on the dark fabric. Usually I do dark trousers here. So that was all about this book. Now another fairy tale story. I have this Cinderella by Amandine Zhang. Unfortunately, so far I did only a couple of pictures, but I have all intentions to return to it in February because we have very nice, very sweet portraits of Cinderella and her prince. So far I did one page just to play with my metallic watercolors. They are very lovely, very shining, but of course with such style of pictures, when I used its own shiny color for each of the areas, the final look, well, it's a little bit motley, but I had a lot of fun, and I especially love this central area which looked like real stained glass window. So page looks very festive, even if maybe areas of this page they are not connected to one another. And much more normal page here. I have Cinderella with her friends, all her animals. I love faces of all those birds. Look at their facial expressions, and look at the face of horse. Amandine is very talented in such small things, and many pictures they are done with a lot of humor. To look at the face of this angry cat, they are priceless. Paper is really good, so when I do my next pictures, I will experiment with more media. Watercolor for the background and then pencils. It will be really helpful because of the A4 size of the book. Well, it's always nice when you can use watercolor for the first layer. I'm very happy that I discovered this beautiful book, Tales of Two Mountains, created by Arthur Mirash. A book which I own. It's printed on standard Amazon paper, but I believe that directly from the artist you can purchase better quality. I'm happy with this one. So far I managed to do a couple of pictures, and by combining markers with pencils or just soft and hard pencils, I don't have many problems with the paper. So I hope that in the next year I will add many more pictures here. And they are absolutely lovely. I love that Arthur added many heroes from legends, from fairy tales from his country, and how he draw horses, elements of clothes or armor, and all those creatures like gnomes or knights or fairies. It's also really very good. I did this one very quickly, apart from the background where I again messed up with distress inks. I simply wanted to work a little bit on steel, and that's why I selected this page for some quick work. Yes, for me that's how the relaxing coloring looks like. When I color something in Johanna Basford, that's where I can't relax, but on such pictures it's much easier for me to switch off my head and to enjoy the process of coloring, of working with pencils on paper. So That's where I don't have to think very hard. My favorite page here, which I did immediately after I received the book, is this very nice but not very peaceful couple. Look at this pair, how beautifully done this coat with all the medals, and look at the nice cat. So really very nicely done. I combined polychromes for the main image, and only on the grass I added a little bit of cheaper pencils, and then I even blended it with light alcohol markers just to get rid of the pencil strokes. But I think that here polychromes worked really well, and it's also one of my favorite works for the last year. I think that I had something, yes, very simple sheet where I simply tested paper, markers and pencils. Nothing special, but still very pleasant work. I'm glad that many pictures in this book, they have frame created by artist, or you can easily do it by yourself, so you don't have to color until the edges. And many pictures have very interesting, pleasant elements. They are relatively short to finish. This book I definitely can recommend, and I am very pleased that in such a way I can support real artists. So I hope that one day Arthur will be inspired to create more books. Another fairy tale book where unfortunately I did only one page, but where I intend to color more, of course. It was created by Martin Noble. It's by Creative Heaven, you can see. And so far I did only the ugly duckling. For me it's precious because I colored it only with color Chinese pencils, and now when people ask me if you can color in Creative Heaven book with more budget pencils, I say yes. This one is okay even if I messed up a little bit with outlining all these petals. Maybe I had to select different color of Posca, maybe I had to drop it off and to leave black lines, but the central part, I think that it looks lovely, so color pencils totally are suitable for this paper, any problems at all. Many times I wanted to start other pictures here, but then I was somehow distracted to other projects. Sometimes I was more tempted to color in Colorless Kingdom by Chris Ortega. Sometimes I simply didn't have time, but I hope that one day I will dive into this book, and next year I will show you more finished projects. Now I have also books which I hadn't touched during this year, but I still love them, and maybe one day I will return to them. Here I love that they are dedicated to fairy tales, but two problems are that paper is tricky, and even if it seems quite thick, it doesn't work well with any water-soluble medium. It bleeds through. Good thing is that many pictures I would never want to color like this one, so if they bleed into such page, it's not a problem. So maybe you simply have to forget about part of the pictures. And of course it has such a huge amount of tiny details that even for me, who usually love very detailed pictures, sometimes it's maybe a little bit too much. And also some of the faces, well, maybe they are a little bit strange for me when I look at them. Maybe not in this book. Let's start from Princess and Fairies. What I have here, I have this Tanabata. It was very interesting to learn this story about Asian lovers. Her cruel father divided them by Milky Way, and when I tried to do this Milky Way, I messed spectacularly here, but I decided that, oh well, maybe it looks at least a little bit like Milky Way. I put acrylic paint, then some white paint on top of it, then I sparkled added sparkles with metallic blue and metallic pink. So I experimented a little bit and I sprinkled everything I owned here by trying to use different textures, some milky and chalky paint, then shining paint. Also, I struggled with those frames, but in the end I think that it worked. Here for the backgrounds I used acrylic gouache. It was far from perfect, but at least it was possible to use it on this paper. That's what I was talking about, that, well, I don't like some of the faces, not exactly the type of face which I love to color. Of course, such fashion of doing face, it doesn't require any complicated shading, you simply cover it with the basic skin tone and that's okay. Well, this one I have done when I tried to practice how to use gesso on this paper. So I covered it with gesso, all the wall and curtain. I can say that I was very happy. My own question is, what was I thinking about when I selected this color for the wall? I simply grabbed the nearest watercolor available on my table. I applied it here, but now on this page it's the brightest, most active element, and that definitely wasn't a very wise color planning. Well, that was also what I am talking about, those faces. I can't say that I love them a lot. I don't know if you can see them on the screen. I hope so. But some of the pictures are really nice apart from these very detailed frames. Those copies, they also look strange with such head. But well, okay. At least a couple looks beautiful. I would love to color these inner pictures, but how to color those curtains without watercolor, I have no idea. But I have here this spread where I'm very proud of my own work. I completed it with polychromos pencils, and only for the frame I used, I believe, some water-based marker to fill in around all those. Some kind of felty pen in brown color, and it also has some golden elements. I used golden gel pen. I think that together the whole spread look a real illustration from children's book, so at least here I am very happy that I gathered my courage and I did such a detailed spread. Many nice details, like I do love this window, or how I did folds on the fabric on the witch and or her face. It's also available on YouTube, so if you need some inspiration, if you own this book and also struggle with pictures, I will be happy if it helps you. And in fairy tales, I have another finished spread, also quite a long work, because here I did background with color softs. They have lovely colors, very nice for the background and for curtain, but waxy color softs on this very smooth paper, it was a nightmare. In the end, I totally put off with the visible pencil strokes. Even now I can see wax on the surface of the paper, wax from blending, from color softs. But in the end I decided that, well, if you look from farther distance, it looks okay, it looks festive because of the many bright colors and all those candles, very festive curtain, and small imperfections. That's not so bad. I tried to use similar colors for the prince and for the nutcracker. To use somewhere pink from her dress, I had to apply it on the cake. Well, it's not bad, but I wouldn't say that I can color picture with such amount of details and in such style every day, but from time to time it wasn't bad. My last project here was this picture with Cinderella, her godmother, and this very detailed frame. Here I enjoyed doing the godmother's dress. It was really nice. Somehow I managed to color this frame by combining many pencil brands. My problem started when I tried to do the gradient on the background. Watercolor didn't work, acrylic didn't work. I applied black ink and it looked rather gray, not black. So even now, if you look closer, you will see different textures like ink, then pencil on top of it. Some areas are matte, some are shiny. In the end, I somehow finished it. I masked ugliest areas with those stars and tiny shiny dots, and I decided that I need a break from this picture. In the beginning I had intention to color the whole spread. I don't know when I will be able to return to it. Anyway, at least I have my video, so I will be able to repeat at least the main elements in the same colors. Flowers, pumpkins, so frame will look as a whole. But what to do with the trees here, how to finish the landscape, I don't know yet. So the whole year I hadn't touched these books, unfortunately. And two final artists in this video, Barbara Lanza, Fairy Lane. And this book I touched only once. It was a long time ago, maybe 5 years. I just received it. I liked pictures. I did first page, and it was my first discovery of Amazon paper. I didn't know that exists such thing as print on demand, that artists could ask Amazon to print their books, but paper would be not very nice. I owned at that moment mostly books by Hannah Carson, by Maria Trolle, printed on good paper. So when I did page on this paper, I was very unhappy how everything behaved. I even used a lot of color softs, which are also not the best choice here. So I struggled a lot. Now when I feel this paper, I don't know why. Maybe 5 years of experience where I colored now on much worse quality of paper, and now I have much bigger stash of art supplies. Now I have very helpful markers to do the first layer. Book is one-sided. Well, I definitely need to return to this book, because paper, it wasn't awful. It just was my first encounter with Amazon paper, so it was slightly shocking. Then I learned about such thing. I got used to such paper, so now I can definitely color here. Maybe not all pictures here are great, but many of them, especially where we have many botanical elements, they are very lovely, and all fairies have beautiful faces. I love Barbara Lanza. It's my only book, so I definitely need to color at least 1 or maybe 2 pages more here. And finally I have this picture which is created by Adele. It's her Meadow Heaven book, which I purchased as PDF. When I purchased it on Etsy, I'm not sure if it exists as paper book from Amazon. And here I have this problem. Now I have this PDF file which I purchased, and with many nice pictures, but I have problems with printing. I can't print pictures on good paper, and pictures, they have a lot of details, so if you want to color them properly, they really needed to be printed on good paper. I love her style, but I can't color her pictures. I know that probably her book now is available on Amazon, so it's a pity that I hadn't waited and purchased the book as a paper copy. That's why I prefer to purchase books, not files. But at least 1 page I managed to print and to color. I still love it a lot. I did it a couple of years ago for February, when I tried to find as many couples in the books as possible. So I did this elf king. I decided that they are elves because of their ears. And it's a combination of markers and polychromos pencils. I don't even remember. Maybe Prismacolors also, when I look at his close, I definitely can see slate gray from Prismacolor. Anyway, I think that they look lovely, they look festive. I love this frame with some kind of maybe Celtic notes. So really lovely pictures in the book. I just need to find solution how maybe to print my book or to purchase another copy, because Adele Lorien is very talented and she has pictures with subjects and with the amount of details, with the beautiful, exactly what I prefer, beautiful people, beautiful clothes and lovely details around. So I have to think how to resolve my problem with Adele Lorien book. Well, I hope that it wasn't a very long video. I think that in the next one I will show you all my mythographic books. So it also won't be a very long story because I have many books but not many finished pictures. But I hope that for me it will be a nice push to use my less frequently used books more often, at least starting from January. Thank you for watching and until the next series.